I just want to say something about Nanci that I'm so glad I get a chance to tell you this, but for our listeners, there's a Bible translation conference called Illuminations, and they are working to finish the task of getting a translation of every language, some portion of scripture in every language in the world. And Randy's been a speaker there, and my husband have had the privilege to go for the last few years. And I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, Randy, you were talking about in her last days, and I hope I don't choke up, but you said that she came to you one day and said, Randy, and she showed you Psalm 119. And I feel bad I don't remember the exact number of it, but she said, all things are his servants. And she was so excited to share how, like, even her cancer could be a servant to the Lord. And I just want to tell you that I've shared that with so many people. Nanci's legacy is impacting someone she never met. And that ministered to me, and it's ministered to many, many people. So it was such a hopeful message in our suffering that everything can be used for God because they serve Him, and so he has providential sovereignty over it all.
Thank
And
you
so,
so much for that, Kristin. That
yeah,
means a great deal to me. And sometimes we look back at loved ones who have
yeah,
suffered, and sometimes we can't really understand the purpose. And in Nanci's case, I think I have already seen the truth of Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. And even though, of course, I never would have wanted Nanci to leave this world, I
yeah,
know not only that she's in a far better place, not only that I will see her again and be reunited with
mm,
her, but I have the privilege of seeing the impact of her legacy in our family and in her friends, like the women's Bible study group that she used to be in
mm,
and lead, and a Moms in Touch group that she was in, and all of these different groups and individuals in the church. I mean, every week in church, so there's someone who comes up to me and
yeah,
tells me how they miss Nanci, or how Nanci made an incredible impact in their life. Somebody came up recently and gave me a note that Nanci had written to them and how encouraged she had been. And it's a privilege and an honor. And I would say this, I'll never forget the day you are speaking of when she shared that verse from Psalm 119, all things are his servants. And she was so animated and so excited, and she had written it in her journal, which she let me read. Um, all things are his servants means my cancer is God's servant. He will use it for high and eternal purposes, and he'll use it in my life, and he'll use it in the lives of others. And here she is, clinging to a promise that she's excited about that relates to her having cancer. And I would say most people would not be putting up that verse on their refrigerator or their dashboard
yeah,
or
that's
whatever,
true.
but and applying it
Mm,
to a disease,
yeah,
because health and wealth gospel, which is a
yes,
heresy,
yep,
is just it just says it's always God's will to heal you. He will heal you no matter what if you believe, and if you don't have enough faith and you die of cancer, it was your fault. And, and I usually tell people, could you just introduce me to, just give me the email address or the phone number so I can text him, a 120-year-old faith healer. That's all I'm asking for. So could you do that? And they say, well, nobody lives to be 120. I go, right, they die. And they all die, and
wow,
most of them don't live any longer than anyone else does. And by the way, when they or their wives get cancer, it is usually not made public. A number of times you've had someone in the family of a faith healer, the faith healer themselves or their spouse, and no one even knew they had cancer. Why? Well, how many donations can you get if you are promising people that it's always God's will to heal? And if you give generously to our ministry, we'll pray for your healing.
mm,
So please give generously and count on being healed. And it's so rampant, and the people of God just should know better.
Mm.